ISO's core functions to basically plan for the system of tomorrow and also operate it. So we make sure that there's always going to be enough electricity supply for every consumer of electricity in the province of Ontario. We also operate the grid, so we actually take a look at real-time system, ensure that power is flowing where it needs to go. Now, one of the biggest things that we've been doing at IESO is we've been taking a shift and focusing on innovation. And with that innovation, a lot of our focus will be on enabling new resources for enabling competition. So a lot of the work we're doing right now is published in a document called our Innovation Roadmap. So that is available online at IESO's website. I can't tell you the link off the top of my head, but that's something that we can give to you to share to your viewers via link afterwards. But it really outlines the fundamental how we're going to attack innovation to enable new resources, to gain visibility to new resources. And once again, everything that we do will always flow back to enabling affordability and reliability for the ratepayers of Ontario.
Yeah, and you know, innovation, I mean, it's a bit of a buzzword, I think, in today's environment, but it means, you know, so many different things to so many people. You know, for me, you know, running and owning a small business, employing, you know, how many people, innovation means a certain thing. And for me, there's a lot less, you know, kind of bounds and constraints to what I can innovate on. I just, if I feel like it's the right thing to do and the rest of our ownership team thinks so, then we can do it. But innovating for a public entity, really, or a public market where, you know, commitment and investment decisions are in some cases in the hundreds of millions or billions, have 30, 40, 50-year lives on them. I think innovation means something different. Like, to talk to us, and you know, you hear in our space, you hear the horror stories of, you know, Hawaii and you know what's happening in their system because of DG and things of that nature. Like, you know, this need, there's on one hand, there's a dramatic need to innovate and to pivot, and on the other hand, there's these constraints. So I don't know if maybe I'm missing the mark, but are you seeing some of that tension? Like, you know, how important it is for you guys, and maybe that's why IESO is doing it. But I would imagine it's a really important thing, and B, something that's not easy to do either from IESO's perspective.
Yeah, 100%. So while and you hear it all the time right now in the sector, you know, we're in a state of change. There's new opportunities to do things differently, but at the same time too, we've done things historically a traditional way for a very, very long time, and it's worked. Like, if you look at transmission, right, how much can you really innovate on the transmission side? So that's, I think, a lot of the viewers, up to the viewers to basically answer that question. On the distribution side, we keep saying that, you know, with DGs and DRs and even grid modernization, right, now is the perfect time to innovate. But before we go and invest billions and billions of dollars into it, we have to make sure that whatever we're innovating works. And like, I think you kind of nailed it too. We are in an industry of buzzwords. So I've heard like buzzwords nonstop. The terms like non-WISO terms, right? That like is a bit of a buzzword. My favorite one is digital twin. So that's something else that's kind of emerged. And once again, that's a buzzword for this is my own interpretation, anyways, for like SCADA systems, more robust SCADA systems. So when we're flooded with all these buzzwords, right? Are we planning for you know, we got to do this because like fear of missing out, or are we doing that because there's actually something that's really logical and tangible that we need to do? And once again, if we're focused on the customer, improving their affordability and reliability, are we innovating for those customers? And so anything that we do, we really need to take on well thought out research, and that's where I kind of tie innovation research together as well. For instance, the York Region pilot that I'm sure we'll be diving into a little bit further on. It's really the first of its kind project in both Canada and in North America. And this gives us a really big opportunity to really test bed a local electricity market and how it integrates with the bulk system level. So right now, IESO, we are the transmission system operator, i.e., you know, we run both real-time energy markets and capacity markets. At the distribution level, there's nothing of its sort. And while we keep saying we need distribution level market, we need DRs to play a more active role. Even if we spent a lot of money building this type of market on the distribution side, will people really come on? Will people actually really participate? Are the prices economical? Like, is this the thing that we need to do because the industry is like shouting for it and advocating for it? And that's where research comes in. We need to actually execute well thought out research, take the evidence and findings, and then from there we can actually make some logical strategic next steps. And you're absolutely right that, you know, if we go dive in headfirst for innovation and start doing everything innovation, we implement every single quote unquote buzzword term in the sector, right? I don't know if that would be the cheapest, most economic for the ratepayers, and even the most reliable. And that's very much the core focus of our group here at the IESO. It is to do that well thought out research. And right now I do manage something called the Grid Innovation Fund as well, which is a $9.5 million yearly investment into innovations. And what we're really trying to push the needle on is advancements in the electricity sector, both from a market's perspective, even things like energy efficiency, things like demand side technologies. We really want to know what works, and even if the research didn't work right, what are the gaps and what further research needs to be undertaken to really make things viable. So whatever we do, we need to really do well thought out research to gather evidence for next steps.